Dear students, I am D.H. Oblapnavar, lecturer in Applied Science of SJP and Trust Polytechnic in Dusaucy. So, in this video, let us discuss the question bank of unit number 6 Industrial Chemistry. So, this chapter carries 30 marks. So, you are going to get 2 marks, 2 questions, 5 marks, long answer, 4 questions, and very long answer, 6 marks, 1 question. The first question of this chapter is define an electrolyte, give example. So electrolyte are the chemical compounds which conduct electricity in molten state or in aqueous solution. So molten state means if chemical solution is heated, if it is heated to a very high temperature, it is converted into liquid form. So if a chemical substance is dissolved in water, is called as aqueous solution. Example for electrolyte is sodium chloride, HCl and NaOH. There are two types of electrolyte, strong and weak electrolyte. Give example. So strong electrolyte are the compound which ionize completely when dissolved in moderate concentration. So what is meant by ionization? When chemical substance is dissolved in water, it splits into positive ion and negative ion, is called as ionization. If a chemical substance or compound completely ionized, so how much ions are there? It completely ionized, so we call it as a strong electrolyte. It has high electrical conductivity. So weak electrolyte are the compound which ionize partially, not completely, when dissolved in water. So example is CHCOOH, HCOOH, HCl are the example for weak electrolyte. So define electrolysis. So electrolysis is a process in which electrolyte is dissolved in water and current is passed in its solution. So the charges are moving towards cathode and anode. So this process is called as electrolysis. The definition of electrolysis is the decomposition or dividing of an electrolyte into elements by passing the direct current is called electrolysis. So there are 5 postulates of theory of electrolytic dissociation. This was discovered by Arrhenius. The postulate means any statement with reasons. So it is a very important question for your semester end examination. Just remember 5 postulates. Let us understand what is the first postulates of Arrhenius theory of electrolytic dissociation. When an electrolyte is dissolved in water, its molecules spontaneously split into positive and negative charge called ions. This process is called ionization. So the second postulate, in a solution, the total number of positive charge and total number of negative charge are exactly equal. So as a whole, solution is electrically neutral. So in an electrolyte, in its solution form, the positive ions are exactly equal to negative ions. So electrolyte solution is electrically neutral. So ions are responsible for the passage of electric current. So in an electrolyte, both positive charge and negative charge are responsible for electric current. Ionization is a reversible process. What do you mean by reversible process? Reactants react to give the product. Product reacts to give the reactants. So the degree of ionization of an electrolyte increases with dilution. Means ionization of an electrolyte increases by increasing the solvent, that is water. So these are the 5 postulates of Arrhenius theory of electrolytic dissociation. Now next very important question in this chapter is explain the mechanism of electrolysis of HCl. So in order to understand the electrolysis of any electrolyte, you should understand two chemical reaction, oxidation and reduction. Oxidation is the losing of electron. If one element is going to lose the electron, another element is going to gain the electron, it is called as reduction. So it obeys the law of conservation of charge. So look at the diagram. This is the experimental arrangement of electrolysis. So a chemical electrolyte is dissolved in water and ionization take place. So two electrodes are there, A and B. One is anode, another one is cathode. They both are connected to a battery DC current. Then chemical reaction is taking place. So to answer this question, you have to draw this necessary diagram and explanation. So consider a solution uh, of hydrochloric acid in water. It contains a large number of positive ions and negative ions, that is H plus and Cl minus ion, due to the ionization of HCl molecules. So the reaction can be demonstrated as HCl is equal to H plus and Cl minus. Suppose, look at the diagram. If two electrode, platinum electrode A and B, are connected to the DC battery, and it is dipped in the solution, then by passing the current, H plus ion move towards the cathode, because cathode is at negative polarity. Unlike charge attract and gain electrons and get discharged as an hydrogen gas. So the following chemical reaction take place. So after ionization, H plus is moving towards the is moving towards the cathode, and it gains an electron from the chloride ion. So electron is denoted by small e with a negative charge. So the charge of the hydrogen becomes 0, which is called as neutral hydrogen atom. So electrolyte contains large number of ions. So such neutral hydrogen atom combines with each other to form H2. So H2 is called as hydrogen molecule, which is liberated at the cathode. Next, similarly, Cl minus is called as chloride ions move towards the anode, and it loses the electron and get discharged as a chlorine gas. So Cl minus, and it loses an electron. This process is called as oxidation, and the charge of the chlorine becomes 0. Such neutral chlorine atom combines with another neutral chlorine atom to form a chlorine gas, which is liberated at the anode. Look at the diagram. Chlorine is liberated at the anode. So thus hydrochloric acid decomposes into hydrogen and chlorine by passing the electric current. This is called electrolysis. Now the reaction should be balanced. So HCl is going to split into hydrogen molecule plus chloride molecules. So left hand side you have to add 2 to balance this equation. Hence this completes this question. Now state and explain Faraday's first and second law of electrolysis. So Faraday, a scientist, have conducted electrolysis over different electrolyte and got a result that is mass liberated at the cathode during the electrolysis is depending on the quantity of current. So quantity of current is denoted by Q. It is the product of strength of the current into time. So Faraday has conducted an experiment on different electrolyte. So in its solution form, he has passed the direct current and he has connected the ammeter, rheostat. So by passing the different current, the mass liberated is also changes. So during electrolysis, the mass of the substance liberated or discharged at the electrode is directly proportional to the quantity of electricity passed. The second law gives the relation between the mass deposited at the cathode and the chemical mass of the substance. So there are different electrolytes. Sodium combines with chlorine, hydrogen combines with chlorine, and sodium combines with hydroxide. So there are two elements combined with other. So if the element changes, chemical mass also changes. So the mass of the substance discharged at the electrode is directly proportional to the chemical mass. So this question may ask for 5 marks. Each statement carries 2.5 marks. Now define corrosion. Write 4 preventive method of it. So corrosion is a chemical attack on a metallic surface. All the metals that are available in the nature, when it is exposed to the environment, it is attacked by chemically. It is called as corrosion. So if corrosion changes the physical property of the body and the metal becomes durability less. So actually the chemical process of corrosion is losing of electron, that is oxidation. So corrosion is defined as gradual destruction of metal brought about by its environment. So in environment there is an oxygen, water and acid. It acts as an electrolyte. So losing of electron take place and metal is undergoing gradual destruction, and this is called as corrosion. Example, rusting of iron. So when iron is undergoing rust, its surface becomes reddish brown, and if copper is undergoing corrosion, its surface becomes green coating. There are different methods to prevent corrosion. The first, almost every metal of the structural importance is undergoing corrosion. So Hence it is necessary to prevent a metal from the corrosion. The first method is alloying. Alloying means mixing two or more metal. The rate of corrosion, that is, decreases, or resistance of corrosion increases. The best example for alloying is stainless steel. So stainless steel is a mixture of steel, nickel and chromium. So these are the three metals. When they are mixed with each other, the metal is not undergoing corrosion. This method is called as alloying. So surface coating, if you coat one metal over the another metal, the metal is prevented from corrosion. For example, if zinc is coated with iron metal, so we call it as GI pipe. So GI pipe stands for galvanized iron pipe, which does not undergoes corrosion. So by galvanizing. So fourth one is by painting. So by painting the metallic surface, oxygen and water does not passes through the paint, and thus metal is prevented from corrosion. So this question carries many times 6 marks, 2 marks for the definitions and 4 preventive methods. Now there is a very important question: explain electrochemical theory of corrosions. So corrosion can be explained chemically by means of electrochemical reaction. So what is electrochemical reaction? By means of chemical reaction, electricity is produced. So look at the diagram. If there is a metal, when it is exposed to the environment, so in the environment there are oxygen, water and acid. It is an electrolyte, and two surfaces are formed, anode and cathode. So anode goes on losing the electron towards the cathode, thus metal is undergoing corrosion. So when a metallic surface is exposed to the environment, a galvanic cell. Galvanic cell is one in which chemical energy is converted into electrical energy, are set up by the formation of anode side and cathode side by means of different parts of the surface of the metal. Moisture in the air forms as an electrolyte. At the anode side, electron gets released which reaches the cathode side through the environment. Thus current flows from anode to cathode through the environment. During this, anode dissolves gradually, resulting in its corrosion. So explain the basic concept of batteries and classification of the batteries. So there are chemical battery. So battery are this source of electrical energy. So a device which converts chemical energy containing its active material, that is electrolyte, into its electrical energy by means of electrochemical oxidation reduction is called battery. So by means of chemical reaction, if electricity is produced, so that is called as electrochemical reaction. So in a battery, so current is produced by means of a chemical reaction. So battery is a source of electrical energy. So what is the construction of battery? A battery consisting of one or more electrochemical cell. Cell is a combination of cathode and anode. So electrically connected in series or parallel. End to end is called as series. If it is connected to the common terminal, it is called as parallel. The required voltage and current level. So batteries are of two types: primary batteries and secondary batteries. What are primary batteries? The primary batteries, the reaction occurs only once and is used for over a period of time. Battery becomes dead and cannot be reused again. So there are some battery, uh, secondary batteries, after use you can recharge by passing the current through in opposite direction so that it can be used again and again. So example for that is lead storage cell, inverter, which are used in everyday life. So lead storage batteries that are used in automobile. The cell which can be recharged and reused after discharge are called secondary cells. Now what are next question is, what are the uses of the batteries? We call it as application of the battery. So in telephone exchange, the information or message is sent from one place to another place for a long distance. So batteries are used as a power source in telephone exchange. So in TV and radio station, it is used as a DC power supply. So in automobile engineering, it is used for the lighting of a vehicles and to start a vehicles. So in mining, so batteries are used as a source of light, and it can be used in electronic watches and calculator to run. So these are the some of the few examples of the battery which carries 5 marks. At least 5 application you have to remember. Next one is there is a cell designed and constructed by name fuel cell. So fuel is a chemical substance which is a source of energy. So what are fuel cell? Write the benefit of fuel cell. So fuel cell is having some benefit compared to the other cell. This is the diagram of the fuel cell. So it contains cathode and anode, and electrolyte is contained at the center, which is in a solution form. Two chemicals elements, hydrogen molecule and oxygen molecules, is used as an oxidizing agent. So fuel cell is a device that converts the chemical energy from a fuel into electricity through a chemical reaction, is called as fuel cell. Here hydrogen and oxygen are acts as an oxidizing agent. So fuel cell are made up of three segments. One is anode, another one is cathode, the third element is electrolyte. So what are the benefit of fuel cell? If I compare to this cell with another cell, the cell runs continuously as long as the reactants are supplied. Second one, the efficiency is about 70%. Fuel cells are pollution free. It does not produce more carbon dioxide. The maintenance of the fuel cell is very simple. Fuel cell provide high quality of DC power, direct power current. So cogeneration capability. So it produces some byproducts. So this advantage is for 5 marks. Definition is of 2 marks. There are different types of fuel cells. There are which are used as a fuel, different chemical substance. If alkaline fuel cell, it is a chemical substance. Molten carbonate fuel cell, phosphoric acid fuel cell, proton exchange membrane fuel cell, and solid oxide fuel cell. So define an alloying of metal. Write 5 purpose of making alloy. So what is meant by alloying? Mixing of two or more metals with definite ratio. The physical property and chemical property of the body can be changed. So a substance that possesses metallic property and is composed of two or more elements of which at least one is metal is called alloy. Or you can just define only mixture of two or more metal with a definite ratio is called as alloy. So what are the purpose of alloying? Why metal is mixed with another metal? What are the changes in the metal? The hardness of the metal can be increased. An alloy is harder than its component element. So by alloying, a metal becomes more harder than the individual element. Reduction of reactivity. Alloys are more resistant to corrosion. So chemical attack cannot be done on the alloying metal. To lower the melting point. So melting point is a solid. Whenever a solid is heated at certain temperature, it melts, is called as melting point, or where solid is converted into liquid. So to enhance the tensile stress, so to increase this tensile stress, to provide better castability. So casting is a technology in which metal is heated to a very high temperature. It is becomes liquid form, and you are going to change the shape of the metal to modify the color. So this is the complete answer for this particular question. So what is composite material? Write its advantages and disadvantages. Composite means more than two or more. So a compound material can be defined as combination of two or more material that results in the unique property, those of the individual component. Example, by mixing cement, plastic, concrete and ceramic. These are the material which acts as a composite material. So what are the benefit of composite material? It is very light in weight as well as strong. So by mixing two or more material, so it is very light in weight and becomes very strong. And impact resistance, high mechanical properties, easily fabrication means changing the shape of the metals easily. Corrosion resistance, corrosion attack cannot be done. Excellent fatigue strength, flexibility of design options. So this is the answer for this particular question. What are the disadvantages of the composite material? So there is a temperature limitations, brittle failure mechanism. Actually mechanical property not always as good as expected. High material cost will increase. High manufacturing cost. Most composite materials are bio non degradable. If this material is thrown on the earth, it does not decay easily, so we call it as bio non degradable, thus harmful to the environment. Define polymer. Poly means many, mer means molecules. So polymer are high molecular weight compound obtained by repeated joining of large number of the simple molecules. So a single molecule is called as monomer, the long chain is called as a polymer. Polymer are high molecular weight compound obtained by repeated joining of a large number of simple molecules. For example, polythene, the monomer is ethene. So when they are combined to form a long chain, we call it as polythene. Teflon is a polymer, PVC, polyvinyl chloride, etc. So polymer means many molecules. So there is a very important question, explain the classification of the polymer. So there are different polymers in chemistry, how they are classified. So polymers are classified into different ways. First one is on the basis of origin, second one on the basis of constitution, then on the basis of polymerization, how it is manufactured. So then based on molecular forces, different polymer is having different molecular forces. What is meant by molecular forces? Force between two molecules. It is always attractive in nature. So the first one is based on origin. So on the origin, polymers are classified into two types, natural polymer and synthetic polymer. So natural polymer means these polymers are found in nature, mostly in plant and animals. Example, cellulose, which is available in plant, starch, food, wood, wool from animal, silk is also from animal, protein, natural rubber, etc. Polymer are starch. Calculate cellulose, nucleic acid, protein, etc. are also biopolymer. So synthetic polymer, these polymers are artificial or man-made. So example, nylon and polystyrene, PVC, Teflon, Terling, polythene, etc. So these are the chemical names you have to remember and by it. So nylon is a chemical name, it is for cloth. Polystyrene, then PVC, plastic pipe. Teflon, it is also a plastic. Based on the constitution, so I told you that polymers are manufactured by combining a single unit. So based on constitution, the polymers are classified into two types. Homopolymer, these are the polymer containing only one type of repeating units. If the repeated units are the same, we call it as homopolymer. So if the repeated units are two different polymers, then it is called as copolymers. Then example for copolymer is bakelite, nylon, etc. Based on the method of polymerization. So polymerization is the conversion of monomer into polymer. So there are two types of polymerization, addition polymerization and condensation polymerization. What do you mean by addition polymerization? These are the polymer obtained by the direct addition. These are the polymer obtained by the direct addition of repeated monomers. Example, polythene, propylene styrene. So here single unit does not changes, it remains same. Condensation polymer, these are the polymers obtained by the condensation of two or more monomers. So condensation is a chemical process. Example, nylon, terling, bakelite, etc. Based on the molecular forces, on the basis of the magnitude of the intermolecular forces present in molecule, they are classified into four categories: elastomer, fiber, thermoplastic and thermosetting plastic. So elastomer, in this polymer, the polymer chain are held together weakest intermolecular force. This polymer can be easily stretched. So example, natural rubber and synthetic rubber. Fiber, in this polymer, the polymer chain are held together by strong intermolecular forces like hydrogen bonds. This polymer have sharp melting point. Nylon, terling, silk, etc. Thermoplastic, in this polymer, the intermolecular forces are intermediate between those elastomer and fiber. This polymer softens on heating and hard on cooling. They can be remolded. Example is chemical name polythene, polystyrene. So thermosetting plastic, these are the polymers which undergo chemical changes. These are the polymers which undergoes chemical changes on holding other another on heating and become rigid on cooling. They cannot be remolded. Example, bakelite, urea formaldehyde resin. So what are the applications of polymers? So where the polymers are used, so you please remember chemical names. Polypropylene is used in housewares, medical equipments, toys, ropes, pipes, carpets and electrical insulation. Polystyrene is used in food container, radio and television cabinets. Polyvinyl chloride. Polyvinyl chloride is used in the raincoats, handbags, table cables, gramophone records, vinyl flooring and water pipes, etc. So these are some of the application. So just remember 5 chemical polymer name and where they are particularly used. That is the correct answer for this question. So urea formaldehyde is a polymer. It is a chemical name is used for making unbreakable cups, laminated sheets, paint and varnishes. So bakelite is used for making combs, electrical switches and plugs and utensils. Silicon polymer are used as a lubricants. Acrylic is used in fiberglass. Define mineral. naturally occurring substance obtained naturally occurring substance obtained by mining and contain the metal in free state or combined state are called minerals. So minerals are naturally occurring substance which are obtained in the earth crust and which are obtained by mining. Define ore. Ore is a mineral from which metal can be extracted conveniently and economically. For example, bauxite is a ore of aluminium. Aluminium is a metal, bauxite is a ore. So aluminium is extracted from bauxite. Define flux. Flux is a chemical substance added to the concentrated ore during the process of smelting in order to remove a gong in the form of fusible slag. Define slag. So these all are questions for 2 marks. Just you understand and remember the definition. The gong combines with the flux to form a product called slag. Write 2 uses of alloys. Stainless steel is used for making utensils, food processing machinery, surgical instruments. Magnesium is used for making scientific instruments and aircraft parts. Define polymerization. It is a chemical reaction. The process of conversion of monomer unit into polymer is called polymerization. For example, ethane CH2 is a single unit. We call it as monomer. So number of ethanes are combined at high temperature and high pressure to form polyethylene. CH2 single bond CH2. So double bond is break into single bond. Number of single units are combined to form a long chains is called as polymerization. The process of conversion of monomer into polymer is called polymerization. Define a solute. So the minor component present in the solution other than solvent is called solute. So solution is the combination of solute and solvent. For example, if sugar is dissolved in water, sugar is a solute, water is a solvent, and combined sugar and water is called as a solution. So solvent, solution are the homogeneous mixture of two or more than the two compounds. So solution is the combination of solute and solvent. Define saturated solution. When the maximum amount of solute can dissolve in the solvent at specific temperature is called a saturated solution. Then what is define unsaturated solution? These all questions are asked in for 2 marks. When solute cannot dissolve in the solvent at specific temperature is called unsaturated solution. Define concentration of a solution. The quantitative relation between solute and solvent is the concentration of the solution. So the amount of solute present in a given amount of a solvent, the relation between solute and solvent is called as concentration. Define normal solution. Normal solution is defined as the number of gram equivalent of solute present per liter of solution at any given temperature. So pH of a solution. So pH define very important question. frequently asked, define pH of a solution, explain acid, base and neutral solution on the basis of pH value. So pH stands for hydrogen ion concentration. So in a chemical solution, if the hydrogen ion concentration increases, it becomes acid. Then if it is hydrogen ion concentration decreases and OH minus increases hydroxyl, it is called as a base. If hydrogen ion and hydroxyl ions are exactly equal, we call it as a neutral solution. So in chemical, there are acids, there are base and there are neutral solution. So pH of a solution is defined as negative logarithm to the base 10 of molar concentration of hydrogen ions. So hydrogen ion is denoted by H plus. Hydrogen carries positive charge. So minus of log of to the base 10. So pH stands for hydrogen ion concentration. Then it can be simplified and written as 1 divided by log of H plus. Then this is the diagram of pH scale. There are three types of chemical solution: acid, base and neutral. So what does the pH scale explains here? If the pH value of the chemical solution is between 0 and 7, we call it as an acid. If pH value is exactly equal to 7, then we call it as neutral solution. For example, water molecular formula is H2O. So if it ionize, it will split into H plus OH minus. So water is having hydrogen ion and hydroxyl ion both in equal quantity. So water is a neutral solution. So let us see this pH scale. If pH value is less than 7, so lower than the pH, lower the chemical solution is acid. If pH value is greater than 7, then the pH value is called as alkaline. If pH value is exactly equal to 7, we call it as neutral solution. So this question carries 5 marks. So definition carries 2 marks and pH scale drawing and explaining the acid, base and neutral carries 3 marks. So what are the once again definition of pH of a solution? So how does pH value is very useful in different fields? pH of a solution is defined as a negative logarithm to the base 10 of hydrogen ion concentration. So pH value plays a very important role in industry, agriculture, in chemistry. So what is the first industry related to pH value? In sugar industry, the extraction of sugarcane juice is always maintained neutral, that is pH value is equal to 7. Otherwise it decomposes and unwanted products is produced. So pH value of sugarcane juice is always maintained 7 in order to give the good quality of sugar. Second one, in leather industry, pH value reduces the bad odor during the tanning of the leather. If the pH value of leather decreases, it produces the bad odor. In textile industry, for dyeing, proper control of pH is necessary. In chemical process, pH of solution is controlled. So in a chemical process, the pH value of the chemical solution is controlled by adding the buffer solution. So buffer means a chemical substance which maintains the pH value constant. In choice of fertilizer, soil, their acidity or is tested initially. So before cultivating any crop in agriculture, the soil solution pH value is calculated or it is determined, and you are going to decide the crop. In this way it helps in the agriculture. So in a medical field, physician repair the pH value of blood for diagnosing the process. Define normal solution. 2 marks question. Normal solution is defined as the number of gram equivalent of solute present per liter of a solution at a given temperature. So thank you very much. So these are the questions discussed in the unit number 6 industrial chemistry. So read the definitions, long questions and short questions, understand the basic concept, read the question carefully and write properly. Thank you very much.